Hi everyone, Adrian here. In this video we're going to be talking about commercial property investments. We're going to be talking about my 3.8 mil super cheap auto and pet barn that I bought. And we've owned it for about 2.5 months, and some of the things have surprised me. So I thought I'd go through that now with you. And even an investor with 17 plus years experience as a mortgage broker, this has surprised me. So what happened in the last 1 to 2 months, and what have I done? So one, when settlement goes through, you have a lot of adjustments, right? So you don't know how much of the rent you're getting, how much has been offset against taxes, against outgoings, against strata, a lot of things. So you don't know until you get your settlement spreadsheet, and then you've got to go back and put it against all the numbers that you've got. And then hopefully you can make some projections on what month 1 and 2 looks like. So I looked at the bank account and I saw that the total rent was somewhere around 26 grand. And then we had 5.5% of property management expenses, right? Then the net figure was somewhere in the realm of 24 to 25, depending on if we had outgoings. And we had outgoings. The one outgoing in the last 2 months was gutter vac cleaning. So it was about $750, give or take. But then the calculations that I had regarding the buy was the fact that it was a 6% net yield, which was true. And there was about 40 grand worth of outgoings on top of that, which was a gross portion of the lease that I knew in 5 to 7 years' time when the leases came up. The property manager told me outright, if you don't push the rental figure up too much, and you might try and grab, a 3.5% rental increase per year compared to 3%. And if you push 40 grand of the outgoings onto the tenant, I'm pretty sure that they will accept that. So I already knew that I was going to get a lot of upside when these leases came up, right? But what happened was, I matched the bank account up to the rental statements, and it looked like about 7.7 grand was not there. It didn't pay. So I'm like, in my head, I'm asking the question, has the rent been paid? 2, if it has been paid, it hasn't been allocated to us. Or 3, there's some form of problem or settlement adjustment that I'm not aware of, right? So I've gone through all of this. And then the first thing I've done is I've written out what I thought has happened, and then I've called up the property manager. So I thought originally 7.7 grand was owing. Then I found out that the payment date from the property manager to me, I think it was like the 29th, they were making the payment by then, but a lot of the time it wasn't clearing in the account, or if it was, they weren't allocating it to my portion quick enough for the payment run. So then the money was just sitting in the property manager's account for like 29 to 30 days of the month. And I thought 7.7 grand was owing. All right, it wasn't. It was closer to 24 to 25 grand that was owing, that was sitting in the account. Now, if I didn't pick that up from matching up the 2 rental statements and then matching up the bank account and then calling the property manager, so everyone was paying rent, everyone was doing the right thing, but the money wasn't clearing until like the 1st or the 2nd, right? So now what we've done is we've set up one big payment run for the whole of the month at the end of the month, and then we're doing a sweep on a Friday, right? So if the money doesn't come in by then, or if it does, it gets swept up the following Friday anyway. So that's what we've gone through. Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, right? But imagine what 24 to 25 grand does on daily interest on a loan over a long period of time. It adds up. So this is something that I've experienced just now. And the other thing that shocked me quite a lot with commercial property investing is that what they don't tell you is, like, immediately when you go into it, you think, oh yeah, there's about 40 grand worth of outgoing. So every month I'll have to allocate a certain amount. It might be $600 or $700 or $800 a month to a lot of these items, or sorry, a week, not a month, right? But not a lot of people realize is a lot of those events are quite chunky, like strata payments every kind of 3 to 4 months, or like with my one, I knew that I've got line marking to be done. And as a strata group of 20, it's like 24 grand. So our portion is a lot smaller than that because we own 2 of the 20. So I knew that was coming out. But what they don't tell you is that if you don't have an outgoing coming out, you're actually positive for that whole amount, which is a net amount coming into your account. So once you account for the LVR and the loan size that we're sitting on, which is somewhere around 50% at the moment, 52%, interest and fees and everything for the loan, we're sitting about 14.5 grand net positive a month. So that's actually getting paid into your loan, sitting against the interest until you have the outgoings later on in the year. So when I went and did projections on how quickly I'm going to have this paid off, which was going to be somewhere in the 6 to 6.5 year range, it ended up being closer to 4.8 to 5.2 years because my projections were off. Now, I'm a mortgage broker that's dealing with complex investors every day of the week, 17 years in lending and broking, 14 to 1600 property investors on my books. Half of them have been buying commercial for probably the last 3.5 years. And even these things shock me. So, yeah, look, we learn every day. We pick things up every day. These things happen. There's a lot of people that have gone through a resi bull run for the last kind of 4 to 6 years across Australia, and a lot of them are selling up exactly what I've done and rotating their money into commercial. So hopefully this gives you a lot of value. If you've got any questions or need any help, send me a message. More than happy to help. We've got a lot of clients buying commercial. I think this year alone we've probably seen 400 plus deals in commercial. Now, half of them the client doesn't buy, but the other half the client does. So we see a lot of deals. We know what's a good deal, what's not a good deal, how to de-risk yourself into a deal, and we know all the lending ins and outs as well. So if you need a broker that's got the reps on the board, is doing this himself personally, send me a message. More than happy to help.